In this video, we will discuss about Apex development. So first of all, we will discuss about what is Apex class definition, how we define a class, and how we can use means like different access modifiers according to business requirement, according to how we can want to make data visible to other users. So what type of different access modifiers which we have in Apex. So we will discuss about that. So let's start. First, what is Apex class definition? So in Apex, you can define top level classes, that is outer classes, as well as inner classes. So inner classes defined within another class. Class inside a class is inner class. For an example, we have public class my outer class, and then we have inner class, that is class my inner class. So the class is the reserved keyword, and this public is the access modifier for this particular outer class, and the name of the outer class is my outer class. So there is inner class, that is my inner class. The name of the class is my inner class, and the keyword is class because we are defining or we are writing a class. That's why we have to write it like class and class name. There is no access modifier to it because it will inherit the access modifier from the outer class. Okay. Moving ahead, we'll to define a class, we have to specify the following, that is access modifiers. You must use one of the access modifiers such as public or global in the declaration of top level class. So your top level class, that is my outer class, it can be public or global. It cannot be private or protected. You do not have to use an access modifier in the declaration of an inner class. As in this example, we haven't used any access modifier for this inner class. Then optional definition modifiers such as virtual, abstract, and so on we can use according to our requirement. What is required? The keyword class followed by the class name is required. So the keyword class is required whenever you are defining a particular class. Then this compiler, the system will know this is a class. This has to be treated as a class. Optionally, we can extend or we can implement. So if we want to extend any class, then we have to use extends. If we want to implement any interface, then we have to use implements. Okay. So moving ahead, syntax for defining a class. So first, it will be access modifier, that it can be private, protected, public, or global. Then we have to use the reserved keyword, that is class. We can name anything in the class name, like it can be ABC, it can be my first hello world program in Apex or my first Apex program. Then if you want to implement interface, then you have to use implements. If you want to implement multiple interface, then you have to just it should be a comma separated thing. So if you want to implement interface A, then interface B, in that way you have to just separate it by comma, so multiple interfaces can be implemented at the same time. Extends will be used if you want any class name in this, or if you want to extend it from any class, any particular class, so you have to use extends keyword. Then the body of the class, this will be your business logic which you want to achieve from this particular class. Okay, moving ahead, we have different type of access modifiers: private, protected, public, global. So we will now discuss about this in detail, about what is private, what is protected, what is public, and what is global. So this is a private, the private access modifier. This access modifier is default, so it's the by default access modifier. If you don't define anything for a particular class, then by default the class will be private, and means that the method and variable is accessible only within the Apex class in which it's defined. If you don't specify an access modifier, the method or variable is private. So the method or the variables, if for an example, if we have class A, B, C, we have class A, B, and C, and in that we have method A, then we have method B. If we haven't defined any access modifier to it, so it will be private by default. Okay, so if we don't have any access modifier for this particular A method, then it is by default private, and this class is also by default private if we haven't defined the access modifier for this particular class. Okay, private means it will be only accessible within that particular class in which they are defined. So whatever we had defined for A and B, we can use only in this class. We cannot use the particular A and B methods in another class. Moving ahead, we have protected. This means that the method or variable is visible to any inner class in the defining Apex class and to the classes that extend the defining Apex class. You can only use this access modifier for instance methods and member variables. For an example, so we have one outer class A. For an example, this is A. In this we have method, LM is the method name, and then we have class B inside of A. So this will be your so this will be your inner class, and in this we can use LM because we can because the variable is visible to any inner class in which they are defined. So we have defined this LM in this particular class A, and in B we can use this LM method because it is defined in A and A is outer class of B. Okay, so that's why it can be used in this class, that is P. In the same way, for an example, we have class C. Okay, so class C extends A, then only we can use LM method. Okay, so any class, so if you go to this definition, to the classes that, and it can be visible to the classes that extend the defining Apex class. So the defining Apex class is A and it is extended by class C. So all the methods which are in A can be used in this class C. Okay. So moving ahead, we have public. So as its name suggests, public means it will be available for all in that particular package. So the public methods or variables are accessible by all Apex classes within a specific package. So if the class is defined as public, if the variables and the methods are defined as public, it can, if the class is, it can be used in A. If the class is A, you have written some methods in this, it can be accessed in class B, it can be accessed in class C and D. You don't have to extend any class because they all are public modifiers, or they are using public access modifiers. That's the reason. Okay. Then moving ahead, we have global. This means the method or variable can be used by any Apex code that has access to the class, not just the Apex code in the same application. It can use in the it can be used in the different application. This access modifier must be used for any method that must be referenced out of the application, either in SOAP API or by other Apex code. If you declare a method or variable as global, you must also declare the class that contains it as global. For an example, you have class ABC is your class. You have variable. You cannot declare any variable in this or any method in this by public or private. For an example, we have global. This is our access modifier. Okay, so if you define any methods, for an example, the method is lmn or xyz is the method. So this method should have access modifier as global, then only you can use it. Otherwise it will throw in a compilation error, because if the class is global, then your method and variable should be global. If any of the method or variable is global, then your class should be global. Otherwise you have to change it all to public, private and that all stuff. Okay, so that's all about global, and it is majorly used for APIs when you are interacting with the third-party systems, or when you are exposing your org data, or you are collecting data from another orgs. So then we have some keywords that are optional. That are optional definition modifiers. So we have virtual. So the virtual definition modifier declares that this class allows extension and overrides. You cannot override a method with the override keyword unless the class has been defined as virtual. So for an example, here we have a parent class. So this is the parent class. The class has the access modifier as public and optional definition as virtual. Okay, so we have public virtual integer do divide, and then we have public static integer, then we have public integer. So this is static, this is non-static, and this is virtual. And now we have child class, which is extending the parent class and to override the do divide method. So if you see this, the name of this method and the parameters which we are passing are all same. The difference they are making is we have just written one word, that is override. So this, we can use the same method with different values, and the execution or the return value will be plus 100, because we are calling this do divide method from this class, and it is overriding what is there in the parent class for that particular method. Okay, to call this, what we do generally, for parent class we have P, for child class we have C. So if you want to if you want to call any method from that particular class which is not static method, then you have to create like P is equal to P1 equal to new instance variable. This is how you create instance variable in anonymous window, and then you have to just write P1 dot, what is the method. So for this example it's to do divide, then you have to pass the values, you can get the result. Okay, so the main part is we are having the same method name, we are having the same parameters, just the calculation or the return value is different. As you can see, it's x by y, or x divided by y, or it is x divided by y plus 100. So if we are not using this override, we will not be able to save this particular class, because the name is same, and if the override keyword will not be there, then it will throw an error to us. And if you want to do multiplication for this, then you can simply write this p1 dot do multiply, because there is no need for override and virtual, all that things. Okay, so if you want to use the same set of parameters are in there, and the name of that particular method will be same, only the returning logic or the logic will be different, then you can use this virtual thing concept, yeah, while implementation. Then we have abstract keyword. So the abstract definition modifier declares that this class contains abstract methods. This is methods that only have their signature declared and no body defined. As its definition is saying, like, we have only a declaration of that particular methods, and we can call that particular method, or in that in the class which is extending that particular class, and then we can define that particular method. So for an example, the main thing is this extends. If it extends, then only this particular child class will be able to access all the things which are there in the parent class. Okay, so now we will see the example for abstract. So we have parent class, then we have child class. Child class is extending parent class. Then we have in the parent class we have one method, that is do difference. There is only declaration. So the signature is declared for that particular method. That is method name, and then there will be two integers x and y to it. So there is no definition for that. We are extending the parent class in child class, and then we are just using the word override. Oh, sorry. We are here just using the word override, and then we are passing the definition to it or the business logic to it. Okay. So that is how you can use abstract. If you have multiple if you want to define or declare multiple set of methods, then you can use abstract, and then according to your need you can pass them in the or you can use them in the class according to your business logic. So then we have with sharing. Use the with sharing keyword when declaring a class to enforce sharing rules of the current user. Explicitly setting this keyword ensures that Apex code runs in the current user context. If you want to run a particular change or particular transaction in the user context, then you have to declare the class with sharing, so it will have access to all the records which are accessible to that particular user profile or according to their permission sets or the sharing rules. Okay, so the all the records which have access to that particular user will be there in that particular transaction. Apart from that, other records will not be part of that particular transaction. Without sharing, as its name suggests, we use the without sharing keyword when declaring a class to ensure that the sharing rules of the current user are not enforced. For an example, you can explicitly turn off sharing rule enforcement when a class is called from another class that is declared using with sharing. Okay, so this is about with sharing without sharing. Then this is means like how we can create a particular interface, and what are the considerations or what needs to be taken care when we write or when we implement any interface. So this is more this is about the interface. So class name implements interface. So for an example, class A, we have class ABC, and it wants to implement particular interface, then we have to use the word implements. To implement or access any interface, implements keyword is used. An interface is like a class in which none of the methods have been implemented. The method signatures are there, but the body of each method is empty, because you will implement that interface, and according to your business logic, you will do the implementation or the definition of that particular method in your class. To use an interface, another class must implement it by providing a body for all the methods contained in the interface. Okay, an interface that defines what a purchase order looks like in general. So for an example, as you can see, this is our interface. The interface name is this purchase order. There is a method double, return type will be double, and the name of that method is discount. Okay, so now this discount will be different for different users. So the one of the implementation of the interface for customer is public class. The name of the class is customer purchase order, which is implementing this particular interface. There is only one method to it. You have to implement that method in that class. So public double discount, the return will be 0.05 or oh 05. So flat 5% discount on the purchase orders for customers. Another is for employees. Okay, so what will be the discount for employees? Public class employee purchase order implements purchase order. Public double discount return straight 10% discount for employees. So there can be scenarios where you want to provide different discounts for customers and for employees. So in that you have to define because as you can see there are two different classes, then you have to define two different methods, and then you have to define that business logic. But if you have an interface, you can just implement, and you have to just pass means like what all methods you want to be what all methods will be part of your interface. You can implement that in your class, and according to your business logic you can implement them in your class. Okay, So that's the benefit we can take from interface. So what is extends keyword? So class name extends another class name. For an example, a class extends another class using the extends keyword. A class can only extend one other class, but it can implement more than one interface. As we already discussed, you can implement multiple interfaces. So for an example, we have class A. It implements LMN interface, and it can only extend one class, that is A, B, C. Okay, so it can only extend one class. It can implement multiple interface. Okay, and a class that extends another class inherit all the methods and properties of the extended class. So for an example, class A public virtual void m1 system. So we are just debugging to know like where the code is running. Then extension for the A class, public class B extends A. So the A, we have method m1. So we will just override m1 and we will print xyz. Okay. So this is about extends keyword. So yeah, that's all. So this is about extends keyword. Thank you, and yeah, that's all. And that's all about Apex class definition. Thank you. Have a nice day. Bye.